Hey there, I'm Sarita, and you're about to experience the modern approach to well being where you get to establish the best and most important relationship you will ever have, the one with yourself. I'm on a mission to help you declutter energy and reclaim your power so you can be a magnet to what you desire. If you're looking for the optimal blend of mindset and healing, you're in the right place. My goal in this podcast is to share tools, resources, and practices that will help you along your healing journey. I'm so excited to be here with you today, so welcome to Back to Here with Sarita. Let's get started. Welcome back to another episode of Back to Here with Sarita, the new Manifesting Paradigm podcast. I'm your host, Sarita. So happy you are here with me today. And this episode, I will be sharing with you my experience during a retrograde season. Both Venus and Mercury retrograde have been really eye-opening for me. This episode is in conjunction with my 57th episode that dropped on March 10th called Venus Retrograde, Your Money and Security. But before I do, I wanted to do something that I've been sharing with you on my solo episodes, and that is a testimonial of a client that has been working with me one-on-one. Today, I'll be sharing with you a testimonial from Bree, who worked with me one-on-one via the Financial Code Activation coaching program that I have to help support her on her money healing journey. So let's read Bree's testimony, and I'll be looking down. If you are watching this on YouTube, you'll see me referencing my notes right here. So Bree says, before I met Sarita and worked with her, I struggled a lot with opening up and trying to figure out what has been holding me back. So I have my own business that I run, and I've been struggling for the last 7 months, and I was interested in manifestation and the manifestation process just to try something new that I hadn't tried before. So before I met her and spoke with her, I know that I suppressed a lot of things that have happened in my childhood, and working with her, we got to pinpoint certain instances I can recall that actually have been the root of my struggles. Even though there's been a lot of abundant things that have happened to me from my childhood, this one thing that we uncovered really stuck out. Really, truly is the core of something that has been bothering me even into adulthood that I really honestly wasn't aware of, and that was in my subconscious. My biggest breakthrough with working with Sarita that it's okay to be upset about certain things when they come up to your conscious mind from your subconscious mind. And now that you're aware of it, you can work through it. She is very knowledgeable and very confident. And she has this way, it's like a superpower, which I've told her that when I have a trouble communicating something on my end or something's bothering me, she can tell that it's bothering me, and she can sense it, and she can talk to me about different things and help to prompt me to release it and be able to communicate to her. This is very helpful. And I highly recommend working with her because she's knowledgeable, she's very calming, and she's very easy to talk to. And her sense of being able to figure out what's going on in my mind when things can't really come out. Like I said, it's like a superpower. I really can't emphasize enough her calmness and her understanding, and I felt very comfortable working with her when it came to my subconscious mind from things that were from childhood. So now I feel very different about the manifestation process and its way of working with your mind to help open it up to get those things from your subconscious to work on them using things like meditation and different therapies and breath work like Sarita and I did. And I truly believe this is empowering, especially because it made me feel more confident myself for things that were hard to do before. And now that I can remember that when then I've had struggles, that I can start today and I can start working on things now. So I truly believe that manifestation is a wonderful process, and working with Sarita is something that I will never forget. Thank you so much, Bree, for that amazing testimonial and working with me with that financial code activating program to help create more confidence in your manifestation process, but also have a way of pinpointing certain areas in your life that potentially can hold you back from receiving the abundance that you truly desire. Okay, let's get into the episode. You all, March has been a doozy. It's been a roller coaster of emotions and, in some ways, kind of a shit show. So, do you know the story of Persephone in Greek mythology? She was essentially taken into the underworld and was forced to give up everything, aka surrender to the underworld. There's different rhetoric saying that she went on her own accord, and some say that she was kidnapped. But regardless, she was forced to surrender in the underworld. But then, after she rose back up again from the underworld, it allowed her so much more power, knowledge, and insight on herself and her experience and situation. So I feel like I've been on my own little Persephone journey during this retrograde season. It dawned on me that the underworld essentially is the shadow self, the side of you that you choose not to see, the side of you that you choose not to see in the daylight, the side of you that you may not be able to see during the daylight or during the day to day. So, just like Persephone, I was forced to go into the underworld and really shed some light on some areas that I personally thought were healed and resolved. So, remember when I said in episode 57 that this retrograde season will bring to the surface areas of your life that have to do with security? Well, this certainly happened to me in regards to love and money finances. During this Venus retrograde season, not only did I have close to about 3 weeks with absolutely zero money, I had three ex lovers pop out of nowhere. I visited areas in my life and my emotional self that I really thought that I had moved on from or resolved. But that's the funny thing about healing, isn't it? It's more about that you never truly have moved on from something or gotten over something. It's more about that you have the proper tools and the emotional body, the nervous system to handle those things in a different way than you used to. So let's start with the money aspect and having about 3 some weeks where I had absolutely no money coming in. If you follow me on social media at Sarita Wellness, you will know and may not know that I have multiple sources of income coming in from my manifestation coaching, my podcast, my pet sitting, house sitting, and then on occasion, I do a work from home gig that is able to go with me anywhere. And it just so happened that for about 2.5 weeks, I had a period where I had absolutely no income coming in from any of those sources. So, this is very unusual for myself, especially since I've constructed my life with intention to have several different streams of income. So, you can only imagine this is very sudden, without warning, and unexpected on my end. So, what occurred? I got into a lot of story about what was happening to me, meaning I was tying my worth and my value to not having the actual tangible money in my 3D reality. Yes, I understand money is in constant motion. Yes, I understand money is in abundance. I understand that abundance is my birthright and money comes to me quickly. And I have put in 3 deep years of healing with my money post my bankruptcy. And so everything was going pretty smooth sailing for quite some time. So you can only imagine my surprise when I ran into this particular road bump. So during these 2.5 weeks, it brought up a lot of old wounds that have to do with my money tied to my worth. And that I'm not worthy if I can't pay my bills, or I'm not worthy that I don't have the money to pay my bills. It was really interesting what came up for me. I went down this rabbit hole that money is scarce and that there isn't enough money. And I remember having this image of my mother who quite literally used to pinch pennies into these penny rollers. I don't know if you remember those. Pinch pennies into these penny rollers and stuff them into a pencil box. And then I also remember her putting aside money in envelopes and taking out just enough money in these envelopes to pay certain parts of her life. So, like Persephone, I was really forced into this position where I had to look at my shadow self. I was taken into the underworld and was noting limiting beliefs around money that were clearly still rooted in there. So, when it comes to our relationship with money, there's a lot out there you can do to support you. But one thing that I like to remind people of and you of as A lot of manifestation coaches don't say this, nor do money coaches talk about this, or anybody that's really in the finance world, is that root belief or that subconscious belief is not your fault. That subconscious belief, that rooted ingrained belief, was rooted in there from years of your own personal understanding that you had about money, most likely picked up from your caretakers, from society, from books that you read, from shows that you've watched. So essentially, it is not your fault, these certain beliefs. What is your responsibility is healing those beliefs. So, what is the real truth about money? Quite simply, money is a neutral resource. That's it. That's all that it is. We give money a lot of meaning all the freaking time. We tie stories to it all the time, just exactly like I did. My worth is equated to money and money equates my worth. And because I've seen so many of these money beliefs come up in my own personal life and my coaching, that's the reason why I created Activate Your Inner Wealth and Abundance 5-day workshop that you can go at your own pace. And this program will support you really in recognizing and understanding where those beliefs come from and helping you to start uprooting those beliefs around money and your finances. Okay, let's get into the other aspect of Venus retrograde and Mercury retrograde. That was very challenging for me. And that was how three love interests from my past resurfacing. So the first ex or the first love interest came at a big surprise for me because it was a Friday afternoon in my community where I live in Ocean Beach, which is in San Diego, California. And that day I decided that I wanted to stop into my favorite smoothie spot. And I was about to pull into the parking lot when suddenly I saw someone dart out of the way of my car that was moving through the parking lot. And I realized in that moment that it was an ex of mine who last I knew didn't even live in the same state as me. If you can imagine, I was pretty shook. I was very shocked at seeing that person, but not in a negative way, but just really not expecting for that thing to occur. And so as I got out of my car, you can imagine I took every precaution to put up my hoodie that I was wearing and walk on the other side of the building. And as I entered into the smoothie shop, I started laughing out loud because I was laughing at what are the odds of that shit happening? I was laughing because I know that universe, God, source does have a sense of humor. I was laughing because clearly it was Venus retrograde and Mercury retrograde happening at the same time. I was laughing also because I know that universe was checking in on me to see how I felt about this particular person, thing, or experience. Okay, so this next one is a bit more heartbreaking, so I really won't go into too much detail about it because it is a very private matter. But essentially, I had an older flame pop up during the month of February and I allowed them back into my life. Now, this one wasn't as much of a surprise to me because I could feel his energy coming towards me. But what was surprising was how the events transpired when I did see him. Essentially, what occurred was upon seeing each other and meeting up with each other, it was just too intense for both of us. And we ended up both reverting back into these old habits and wounded places and the tendencies that left us both feeling kind of powerless and not in our own sovereignty, which ended up causing both him and me to retreat and abandon ship. The experience was quite heartbreaking for me because of my wound of abandonment and rejection really rung out clear to me. I really had to remind myself that the action of this other person actually didn't have anything to do with me because I had chosen to open myself up to this potential possibility and that not to take it so personally. If anything, it was a mirror to me. So if we like it or not, people are our mirrors all the time. They often show us the wounds that we choose not to see and we choose to ignore. And since we were in the midst of Venus retrograde and Mercury retrograde, my sense of security was definitely impacted. Yes, of course, I definitely sat in a lot of heartbreak, rejection, and sadness due to this circumstance. But at the same time, I took it as an opportunity to see the areas that I clearly needed to give more TLC to. Like my relationship with money that I was just sharing with you, this experience of heartbreak, this heartbreaking situation, was just casting a light on areas that I've known for quite some time that I need to give more self love action towards. I recognize very wholeheartedly that I have areas in my life where I have been self abandoning, where I have been breaking my own heart, where I have not been speaking up, and where I end up retreating and avoiding. So the last X that popped up came through via a text message and on their part, a desire to rekindle a connection. When I read this text message, I felt the gut reaction of not wanting to reconnect because I wasn't going to be receiving anything from it. The good thing about this experience was because I was in a lot more clear state of mind because I had been doing some very deep reflective work after that heartbreaking incident. So I felt more at ease in my power in standing up for what I wanted in that moment. I took it as an opportunity to stand my ground and say no. I had absolutely no desire in reconnecting. And to be honest with you, it actually was kind of challenging for me to say no because I've been this person in this circumstance with this person for a long time where I've been Mr. Nice Guy, where I've been too nice. So doing something that was against my normal conditioning was a little bit more awkward. So if you had any of your exes or old flames resurface, or you have thought about them, or you've had some concerns regarding your finances and money during this season, there is a reason for that. Like I said, I go a lot deeper into that in episode 57, so go back and listen to that. But I do want to mention something that I think it's important for us to understand here. So you may have heard at one point of your life that God tests you or the universe is testing you. Now, as a spiritual coach and someone who believes heavily in science and also the nervous system, I've come to the conclusion that we are not being tested in the way that we think we are being tested. I think we have this perception that God, source, universe gives us a test as if we're going to pass or fail, that type of thing. So I don't believe that God, source, universe essentially gives us a test to quote unquote pass or fail, any type of thing like that. I feel like it's more of a check in of sorts and what my friend likes calling a temperature gauge. So, you know how electric companies will send somebody out to your home or your building every once in a while to check to see if the temperature is okay and see if everything's running properly? And just like large companies that have production lines, of course, they have electricians come out to check to see if the machines are running to their optimal ability. And then also, it's like when you go get your car maintenance, you want to make sure everything's running properly. And same with you when you have your routine medical check-ins. It's basically a exam to see where you are in specifics to that thing. So instead of thinking of it as a pass or fail, think of it as God, source, universe checking in with you to see where you are with that person, place, thing, belief, or anything that's coming forth. So why is this important? Because when we make certain choices in our life, we alter our reality. And when we alter our reality, we are becoming newer and more current versions of ourselves. Oftentimes, we are shedding old ways of being, prior beliefs, and prior conditionings when we choose something different than before. So, of course, When we start to embody and become a newer version of ourselves, the universe, of course, is going to come back and check in with us to see how are you feeling about that old way of being, or that old past version of yourself, or that old belief around that certain thing. So for me, when I saw my ex in the parking lot, it was a check-in and confirmation to me saying, yep, I have 111% moved on, and I'm on board with my new belief in all that. And same thing with my ex that texted me. I was 111% on board with not desiring a reconnection. And so, well, obviously, with the old flame that I allowed back into my world, I apparently was not over. And I also needed to have that experience to mirror back to me clearly the areas that I had not been healed from. The same thing that had to do with my 2.5 some weeks where I had no money. It clearly showed areas of my life that needed a lot more TLC. So, all that being said, when things do pop up from the past, or when you are feeling a certain way about what someone said or someone did, or an experience that you may have just had or went through, it's just a wonderful opportunity that the universe, God source, is checking in with you to see where you are in regards to that thing. So, a little astrology update for you. Mercury retrograde officially ends today, the day that this podcast episode is being released, which is Monday, April 7th. And Venus retrograde officially ends on Saturday, April 12th, which is my birthday. This whole last month of March has been especially challenging for us Aries, because not only was Venus and Mercury retrograde in the sign of Aries until March 28th and March 30th, we also had a super new moon eclipse in Aries on March 29th. Not to mention that Neptune moved into the sign of Aries on March 30th and has not done so since 1861, when the American Civil War started, which was actually on my birthday 164 years ago. So, needless to say, I'm really glad that it's April. So, if you have been feeling a bit extra, I just shared with you there's a lot going on in our stars and in our planets. So, rest assured, it's not just you. I really hope this episode finds you well and helps you understand that it has been a tumultuous time, not just for us, but myself, and things are getting better. And in those moments when things do fall apart, or when things fall into places that are not necessarily your desired outcome, realize and know that everything is working out for you. Everything's working out for the highest good for everybody around, and for the highest good for all. Do me a favor and make sure to send this episode to your astrology loving friend, because I know you have somebody in your network that absolutely loves astrology, and also somebody that needs to hear this, and for them to realize that they are not alone. You are not alone. And this journey is here to help support you in your love, money, and security. If you desire additional support, my Venus retrograde offering is still available through this Saturday, April 12th, where we will look at your Venus sign to see the areas of your life where we can support you on. This particular offering will be even more helpful because we have an upcoming Libra full moon on April 12th. So I know this will help you shed areas in your life where you can actually release and let go. This is an optimal time to do that as we head into the next chapter of your life and the next moon phase. You can find that financial code activation Venus retrograde offering below in the show notes. Make sure to take advantage of this offering, because it will never be this price again, because it'll be rolling into a 3-month coaching offering. I really hope that this episode was supportive to you, and make sure to share your favorite part with me by tagging me in your stories at Sarita Wellness. Until next time, my love, I absolutely love being with you here in this podcast as we share some amazing time together. And as always, keep being the amazing you that you are. Take care and see you next time. Hey, love, thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. If you adored what you heard, It would mean the world to me if you took a moment to leave a review on the platform you are listening to this episode on. By doing this, you are helping my mission to impact other women with their healing journeys. If you aren't already following me on social media, make sure to connect with me at Sarita Wellness to get your weekly dose of inspiration. I can't wait to be with you in the next episode, but in the meantime, keep being the amazing you that you are.